There are just a handful of races left in the 2012 Star Mazda Championship season. Even fewer drivers have any hope left of capturing the title. The prize includes the fully funded ride on the next rung of the Mazda driver development ladder up the Mazda road to Indy. The man most likely to succeed is British-born Jack Hawksworth. But before Captain Jack can claim the treasure, he'll have to prove his grit on the tough inner-city streets of Baltimore. The Star Mazda Championship, part of the Grand Prix of Baltimore, is up next on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, and Camden Yards, home of the American League's Baltimore Orioles. We're in the Inner Harbor area for coverage of the Star Mazda Championship, part of the Grand Prix of Baltimore, here on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. IndyCar star James Hinchcliffe will join me for the call in a couple of moments. And Todd Lewis has our coverage in the paddock and on pit road. The story this weekend has been the circuit. Year 2 for this event has the potential to become the Long Beach of the East, but the course has been very challenging. Organizers have had to make several adjustments. It's a rough place, a fast place, and several cars have been damaged already this weekend. In terms of the championship, Captain Jack Hawksworth on his way to locking up the title and the scholarship that'll take him one more step up the Mazda Road to Indy ladder. But there are some challengers who want to try to derail his express. Let's get the thoughts of the contenders today. Let's go downstairs to Todd.
With no qualifying times counting, Jack Hawksworth will line up on the pole position, so you get to lead everybody through this new chicane here in Baltimore for the first time. Little exciting, interesting, or nervous, or all of the above?
I think a little bit of all of the above. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I don't think nobody's seen or driven the circuit in the configuration it is now. Obviously, yesterday we had a small amount of practice on what yesterday's configuration was like, but with the changes to the track, not only in the chicane on the front straight, but in turn 5 as well, it's going to make it really interesting. We're all going to have to adapt quickly, and whoever gets on top of it first is probably going to have an advantage, I would think.
How disruptive is that to your pre-race preparation? Normally you know the track, you're comfortable with it. Now there's a last-minute change before the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the entire weekend's been crazy. We've had I think we've had probably about 30 minutes of practice in total, so not much time to learn the track and adapt. But we're in the lucky position of having a base setup which we know from previous tracks works. I felt comfortable with the car, especially in the final few laps I had yesterday. So I'm feeling really confident that we're going to be in a strong position. I just don't know how strong everyone else is yet. I'm sure we're going to find out this afternoon.
All right, now you ready to get back on track after some not so great ending to Trois Rivières?
Yeah, I mean, the way it ended at Three Rivers isn't, it's not ever the way you want to end a race in the wall. But I apologise to the team and stood up for my mistake, and now it's time to put that right and rectify it by going out there and bringing home a good couple of results this weekend. If I can do that, then I'll feel good about it.
Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, so the thoughts of Jack Hawksworth as we get to race around Camden Yards. James Hinchcliffe, the issue weather-wise, probably the humidity, but boy, this racetrack has changed a lot, hasn't it?
It certainly has. It's one of the bumpier tracks that we race on. Corner 1, great braking zone, very bumpy down the front straight. Turn 3, another hairpin, a good passing opportunity, but turn 6 and 5 and 6, where we've seen the first alteration from the first practice. A curb's been removed, opening up the entry to 5, making it a bit easier for these cars. The real issue, though, has been the train tracks. Off of turn 12, we've essentially put in a turn 13 and 14 with this chicane right in front. And what we're going to do now is ride on board with Bruno Pauly, and this is heading up the straight between 4 and 5, so you're going to get to see some of these changes as he turns in here to the left-hander. The curb's been removed. They can go right up against the wall now. This is a very tight technical section. There's a lot of give and take in this section. You can see drivers pick up time on the entry, lose time on the exit. It's all a bit of a compromise through here. Turn 8, a very typical street course, 90-degree right-hander, and turn 9 here is one of my favorite corners. It's a turn brake zone, so there's not a lot of opportunity to pass. The car's very on edge. Good exit here is important. Bit of a short back straightaway, heads into a very exciting turn 10-11, fast, fifth gear, quick right, quick left, again into a brake zone while turning into another very typical street circuit 90-degree right-hander. And this is where things get interesting. The pavement goes away, the concrete comes on. You can see how bumpy it is, and now here's the chicane, a little bit of curve left, a little bit more curve right over the railroad tracks, and that's claimed a lot of cars, and that wall has caused a lot of damage so far this weekend.
Exactly so. The train tracks and the curbing have pitched cars left. It's been a real challenge for a lot of drivers. As we line up here, getting set to roll the cars away and get started. First of a doubleheader weekend in Baltimore. Jack Hawksworth with a 41-point lead over Sage Karam. Not quite enough to clinch this weekend, but he can take a giant step toward that Indy Lights ride.
He's certainly sitting very pretty. He's in the catbird seat, but he's got a couple guys hungry behind him that could make a dent.
Now, fans having the opportunity, courtesy of Mazda and the road to Indy, to look at some of the championship trophies, kind of sort of try a driver's uniform on.
I wish my suit came on and off that easy. Normally it's a bit more of an effort to dance into that thing.
Get a look at the Star Mazda race cars up close and personal. Fans enjoying the Mazda display, part of the Mazda Road to Indy here at Baltimore weekend. Take a look at the starting lineup for today's event as we bring you coverage of the Star Mazda Championship. As Todd Lewis mentioned earlier, not enough track time. They've been working on the surface here on the layout, so a lot of support events, including the Star Mazda Championship, had to go according to points. So Hawksworth and Sage Karam in row number 1.
Yeah, it was a difficult situation, but you know, the series and the promoters did a great job to get it all sorted, and these guys, I think, are going to have a good racetrack to run on today.
Gabi Chavez and Connor DiFilippi in row 2. Martin Scunzio, Petri Savanto, one of the Hawksworth teammates at Team Belfry, will line up in the third row. Pedro Hita, Gustavo Menezes in row number 4 here today. We take you back through. Get a look at the drivers as they line up. Diego Ferreira, Zach Beach from Andretti Autosport will make up our 5th row here this weekend. Row number 6, Ashley Freiberg, and the True Car entry, Andres Mendez in the 53. He'll start in the 12th position. Again, the cars lining up according to points. Camilo Schmidt, Bruno Pali in the 7th row. Schmidt, of course, the surprise winner at Edmonton in the rain a few weeks ago, back in the summer. Carlos Linares and Stefan Rudzinski in row number 8. Rudzinski in that 93. And then back to the 9th row. Zach Meyer having to fight back. And Ryan Taviter, new sponsor for him. He's with us here in Baltimore a little bit unexpectedly. Wasn't planning to run this event. Walt Bolin, our expert class competitor, will start in the 19th spot. Standing start in the afternoon here at Baltimore.
This is going to be interesting. You know, I feel bad for Stefan Rudzinski lining up on points. He was the quickest JDC Motorsports car in practice, but obviously not running a full season is going to hurt him. But the front row is all familiar to us. So let's take a look at the Mazda keys to the race here in Baltimore. Number 1 is the bumps. We've talked about it. It's hard to hold on to the car. The cars are getting damaged by some of the bumps. The heat, it's so humid here. There's not a lot of straightaways to cool the drivers down. That's going to become an issue. And restarts. These very inviting passing opportunities into turn 1 and turn 3, bumpy brake zones, can definitely wreak some havoc in this race.
A couple of onboard looks. Our Replay XD onboard cameras with all of the Star Mazda competitors. Sage Karam won the second half of the doubleheader weekend up at Three Rivers in the rain. Jack Hawksworth stuffed it into the wall one of the few times he's put a wheel wrong this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sage has been blindingly quick all weekend, quicker than Jack. I know he's disappointed to start where he is, but let's see what he can do when this race goes green.
Starting lights are on, green comes on, and everybody scrambles here in Baltimore.
Looks like some kids maybe jumped the start at the back of the grid there. That was interesting, but it was a couple rows. Maybe there was a light malfunction or something. We're heading down now into the turn 1. Oh, contact! Veach gets turned around by Gabi Chavez. That's not what he wanted to see happen.
Zach Veach gets back on the gas, able to put that car back in gear. Juan Pedro Hita, I believe, did not get fired from the original start. Hawksworth takes advantage, and here's DiFilippi going for second on the outside.
Outside of Chavez, and it looks like Uno, he had to defend a little bit on the inside. Everyone else being pretty well behaved into turn 3 here. Again, a very inviting braking zone, but that's heartbreaking for Sage Karam, and Scunzio in trouble.
Martin Scunzio from Chile, slow to get going on the main straightaway. We'll try to catch up and see what happened with him. The battle here is for second with Gabi Chavez trying to hang on.
Gabi doing a very good job making that car as wide as possible. Connor had a great run out at turn 4, not able to make it happen. And this is allowing Jack Hawksworth to open up a very customary lead up front on only the first lap.
Hawksworth couldn't have this work out any better for him with the troubles behind him, able to kind of wave goodbye early. Petri Savanto, the reigning USF 2000 champion, takes that next step up the Mazda Road to Indy this weekend. A nice 4th here in the early going.
Yeah, he's running well. It's a good, clean start, and a full course caution has come onto the track. That's probably for Scuncio's car, which is, I imagine, stranded somewhere. Oh no, Pedrohita as well.
Yeah, Pedrohita never got going on the front straightaway, and the track safety crew out there to assist him. Looks like they'll have to tow him in. Meantime, the scramble for positions here deeper in the field.
That's bizarre because he obviously wasn't in his grid box. He made it a couple feet at least before either something broke or maybe a half shaft once he got rolling was too much and broke on this car. It's happened before. We saw it happen to Sage Karam in Toronto. So yes, unfortunate again for Hawksworth. A nice healthy lead after only half a lap.
Take another look at what happened here on the streets of Baltimore. As the lights turn green, Hawksworth in the yellow car will get the jump.
Yeah, you definitely see some cars in the background move there, but a great start from Jack. Some jockeying for position back here. And there's Pedrohita, he barely makes it off the line.
Now, it looked as though he launched but didn't get very far, as you mentioned, James. That's a gearbox, I would imagine.
Could be gearbox, could be, a half shaft that broke after the initial torque was put through the system there. But Sage Karam here, 9th place. That's actually not bad considering he went all the way around at a complete 360 in the first corner, and he only fell down to 9th.
One more look at it here as the field got going on the front straightaway and down into one.
He turns in. I mean, that's a racing incident. Gabby was close enough to have a look. Obviously not close enough to go all the way by, but I keep calling him Zach. Sage just did not give him enough room all the way around. He keeps his right foot in it, just spun that thing right back around.
A Replay XD onboard look here. It's pretty inviting to try to dive bomb into the inside of these corners.
Yeah, and you can see Gabby tried to get out of it. There's really nothing else he could do. The wall was there. There wasn't a curb he could try and cut and give Sage any more room. So just sort of one of those racing deals, but very unfortunate for Karam.
Full course yellow here will regroup the field, and Jack Hawksworth will be the restart leader. Gabby Chavez will line up second in front of Connor DiFilippi and Petri Suvanto. Early laps in Baltimore. Back with more on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Welcome back to the streets of Baltimore. Beautiful venue for this event. Second year for the Grand Prix of Baltimore. Star Mazda Championship getting toward the end of the 2012 season. With James Hinchcliffe, I'm Rick Benjamin. Todd Lewis has our coverage on pit road. Lining the field back up. It'll be single file for a restart in this timed event. Hawksworth will have the restart pole. Gabby Chavez will be next in line. Let's find out what happened to Juan Pedrohita as the lights went green. Down to Todd.
Juan, sorry to see you out of this one so early. What happened out there?
We don't know, man. Apparently something broke on the gearbox. We was just under the start, and when I released the clutch, the car wouldn't go. And then I tried to put some gears, and the gears weren't there. So it's a shame, but that happens, right? So
another chance tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks.
So Pedrohita from the JDC Motorsports bunch. Yeah, if all the gears aren't intact, hard to make the car go.
Yeah, it looks like you call that one. And again, the one thing I have an issue with in this format is a driver has a problem on the start, and he's going to have to start right at the back tomorrow because he does not set a competitive lap in this race, and that's how we set the grid for race 2. So a double whammy for Juan Pedrohita.
Still part of the learning curve, though, of the Star Mazda Championship. You want to take those steps up the Mazda road to Indy ladder. You have to learn how to deal with things like that and street racing as well.
This is all part of it, and sometimes you got to start at the back, and to be honest, some of the races you learn the most is when you start at the back and actually have to work your way through it.
Green flag back in the air on the streets of Baltimore, and Hawksworth again off to a terrific start. A lot of jockeying for position, though, right behind him.
A customary good launch for Captain Jack out front. Gabby Chavez, man, he's making that car very wide, almost questionably wide at times, trying to keep that group behind him. On board now with Petri Suvanto, and Connor DiFilippi is the next in line to try and take that position. He's looking very racy.
Petri Suvanto on the Mazda Speed Driver Development Ladder Scholarship Plan. DiFilippi on the outside trying to take second away, but Chavez has him go, and one car way offline.
Is that Karam already coming back up into the top 5? There he is. Phenomenal restart from Sage Karam. He's up to 4th place.
He is very quick. Now, the discussion we've had with Sage, and we've heard some of this conversation, does he go ahead and take that step up to Indy Lights next year anyway, or does he spend another year in Star Mazda and continue the learning process? DiFilippi meantime through to second.
And DiFilippi, that's a good pass. That's a tough area to get a pass done. He's clearly very good off turn 4. Gabby just does not quite have the pace of these other cars right now. He's working very hard to keep them behind him. Next guy up, here it is, Sage, turn 8, another unlikely passing place.
Good move to the inside to get that cleared and completed it, make another gain here in a position. And here comes Suvanto to the inside.
Inside of turn 9, these guys are getting him in all the unlikely places. He's clearly struggling with that race car a little bit.
Gabby Chavez, meantime, back around Petri Suvanto with that outside-in move coming off 9.
Yeah, that was very good. Petri very wide on the exit, and then Gabby had the line into turn 10, so he keeps the train behind him for at least a few more corners.
Learning how to defend at one of these street courses, pretty tough thing to do, isn't it?
You know, it is, but one of the things Gabby really has working for him is his experience over in Europe. This is a much more similar style to the racing over in Europe. Obviously, the defending rules, if you will, I don't like calling them the blocking rules. The defending rules have changed this year in the whole Mazda Road to Indy ladder system, and I think it makes for much better racing, but Gabby is definitely more experienced in that style than a lot of these other drivers.
Bruno Pali, meantime, Diego Ferreira fighting for position. The two Team Viso drivers, they've got a nice little squabble going on.
They do, and looking on the inside of turn 3, you can see how bumpy this brake zone is. The car's just darting around in every direction. It's very difficult to gauge your braking points.
Do you set up a soft race car for a track like this?
You have to set it up a little bit soft. The problem is half of this racetrack's been recently paved. You can see right here, they're now on the new part of the circuit. It's very smooth, grippy asphalt. The other half is very bumpy, you know, broken up, dirty concrete. And as a result, you do have to be a little bit compromising. You don't want to be too soft, because this section you can get away with a stiffer platform, but certainly from the exit of turn 12 all the way to turn 4 is a different, completely different racetrack in a sense.
Connor DiFilippi in the green and white car. The Yukos machine trying to hold off Sage Karam in the Comfort Solutions car for Andretti Autosport. This is a fight for second that's going to take shape here.
And it's also, in a sense, a fight for second in the championship.
Yeah.
Both these guys are in the running. Gabby Chavez, the other driver, sort of in that mix there. And, you know, Connor, he started the season very, very strong, had a bunch of bad luck, a bunch of things go, you know, against him. But, I mean, clearly this kid can drive. He's got the experience in this series. He hasn't had the season that he was hoping for, but I don't think that takes anything away from him necessarily as a driver and his development and goal to move up the Road to Indy ladder.
Replay XD onboard look from Sage Karam's machine on the front straightaway here. You saw that chicane driver's eye view. Everyone checking in, trying to chase down Hawksworth. Meantime, here is Chavez trying to stay in front of Petri Suvanto.
Yeah, Suvanto got around him once. Oh, look down the inside. Oh, very close racing, but very well behaved, boys. That was well done.
From the driver's seat, you've been out on this racetrack this weekend. How inviting is that inside move into one?
It really is, you know. And one of the big problems, though, is you obviously don't normally break down the inside for turn 1, and you know how bumpy it is and where the bumps are on the outside line, but you kind of have to explore a little bit in these early laps, see where those bumps are on the inside of the brake zone. So your first one's not going to be the big, you know, kamikaze lunge. You really kind of have to feel it out and make sure the car's not going to bottom, you're not going to lock up. So it might take a couple chances for these drivers to get comfortable for those passes into 1 and into 3.
Stefan Radzinski in the 93 has made a nice early move. He's gained some ground here. This is the fight for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Ashley Freiberg doing a nice job as well in the 91 there.
Yeah, she's holding on very well, doing a good job. And like you say, we spoke about Stefan earlier in the program, not running a full season, so he's trying to make the most of each and every time he's getting in the car, and he's doing a good job. He's showing well this weekend, was quick in practice, and now he's laying some moves down in the race.
Watching the battle here, Gabby Chavez in the red and white machine in front of Petri Suvanto, back behind the leaders. This is 4th and 5th in play, coming under one of the bridges to a right-hander.
And you know, when you're in a defensive position like that, it's so tough for a driver, because not only are you looking forward, trying to maximize every tenth out of your own car, you're spending almost as much time looking backwards, trying to see what the guys behind you are doing. So Gabby right now is in a very difficult situation. He's handling it very well.
Radzinski in the 93, Hawksworth long gone for the moment. DiFilippi and Karam. Chavez running in 4th, and here's the contested position back around 6th, 7th, 8th.
This is a great little train we got going. A bunch of young drivers. Zach Veach there at the tail of the field. And yeah, Radzinski's leading this one. And again, he's trying to work on his racecraft as well.
Single file down into one of the right-hand corners here at Baltimore. This is one of the hairpins around that SRT banner. Very slick on the concrete as well.
It really is. You have the bumps, there's surface changes, there's some concrete patches that have been there for years, some that just got put in last year when the track was built. So there's varying degrees of grip even within the same corner, and that can certainly throw drivers for a bit of a loop.
And of course the concrete with its grip changes and so forth, that could have been a problem for some of the cars that had difficulty on the start. Back to the beginning, we saw Martin Scuncio in the Pullman bus machine have problems getting launched. He's out. He's with Todd.
Martin, sorry to see you out of this one early. What happened?
I think it's the drive shaft came off in the start. It's a shame, you know. Guys did a great job with the car. We'll see tomorrow starting from the back.
Thanks.
Another tough break for Scuncio, but right as we cut to that interview, we actually saw Stefan Radzinski, who was leading that train we were following earlier, dive into pit lane, and that was to serve a drive-through penalty he was given for jumping the start. We did see some cars in the back of the grid move a bit early, and unfortunately, Stefan's sort of the victim there, and he's got to come in for a drive-through.
Can't go until the lights go green. You hate that. For second, Sage Karam, meanwhile, putting a lot of pressure on Connor DeFilippi's 2-car.
You know, you were speaking about Sage earlier. Is he ready to make that jump? And I got to be honest, I think he is. The kid is immensely talented. We've seen that. We've seen him calm down a little bit this year. We've seen some unbelievable drives through the back of the field. There's no doubt he is the undisputed, I was going to say, overtaker in the series, as he proves me right just there on Connor DeFilippi into turn 3. And the kid's got the skills, I think, to move up to that next step.
Well, let's talk. You raced around him. He's part of your Andretti Autosport team. But let's talk about this a little bit. Hawksworth has been great at qualifying. He's been terrific with clean racetrack in front of him. Sage, maybe not so much. Does he need to shore up his qualifying efforts?
I mean, that's a tough call. You know, you never know exactly where the deficit is in a qualifying situation. Is the team set up not get the best out of a new set of tires? Is one driver better over a single lap than over a race distance? You know, I've not looked that closely.
Oh, trouble. Camilo Schmidt has put the 21 into the wall pretty hard on the exit of one of the right-hand corners here. He's bent that car at both ends. Let's take a look here. We've got an onboard view, the Replay XD onboard cameras from Carlos Linares' view. Oh.
I was going to say, based on the fact the left front was bent before the right side got taken out, I thought it might have been the inside wall at turn 4. I saw Scott Dixon do that last year in the IndyCar. It's a very easy thing to do. That corner's so difficult because that's when you come from that bumpy, slippery concrete onto the asphalt. The car grips up weird, and it is a very tricky corner.
If you don't have your turn-in plan properly, it can throw you into the inside.
Exactly, because you hit that new pavement, and the car grips up, and all of a sudden, you know, if you've got too much steering angle in it, if your car's been understeering, you can grip up and take yourself right into the wall there.
Full course caution as the track safety crew, the Homatro safety crew, goes to rescue Schmidt, who had that surprise victory in the rainy first race of the weekend at Edmonton in Alberta, Canada, earlier this summer. We're hard by Camden Yards in Baltimore, the home of the Orioles. We're racing, though, this weekend on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Welcome back on the Mazda Motorsports Hour, coverage of the Star Mazda Championship with James Hinchcliffe, I'm Rick Benjamin, Todd Lewis with our coverage on pit road today. Grand Prix of Baltimore weekend. Been a tough one for some of the folks involved with this circuit. They've had to make some adjustments to that chicane at the head of the front straightaway in the interest of driver and team safety. Let's get some words from Todd before we get going.
This could be the big break for Sage Karam. With this full course yellow, it of course closes up the field. He's had a great climb back down to about 9th, all the way up to 2nd now. This could be his opportunity to jump Jack Hawksworth on the restart.
See how this one plays out. Team principal Michael Andretti looking at the timing and scoring, talking to the engineering crew. He's very involved even at this level, isn't he, James?
At all levels. You know, Andretti Autosport fields cars in Formula 2000, Star Mazda, Indy Lights, and of course in the Indy cars. And Michael's present at every single level of the sport. It's cool to see a boss that's got that much going on, but still has the time to make for every single one of his teams.
His driver, Sage Karam, of course, Zach Beach, the other driver, not quite ready to go green yet, still cleaning up from the incident involving Camilo Schmidt's car as he turned in there on that left-hander.
Yes, and I'm excited about this restart, I'm not going to lie. After what we've seen Sage do, we know he was quicker than Jack in practice, but turn around in turn 1, fought his way from 9th up to 2nd, crucially got by DeFilippi before that yellow came out, so he's going to be the guy absolutely next in line to try and capitalize and jump on Jack.
And James, for a young driver to have the presence of mind when you go around in turn 1, you've turned in too tightly, there's contact, to keep that engine running and get it back in gear, that says a lot.
It's that fight or flight response. You know, when put in a difficult situation, he knew exactly what he had to do, and he pulled it off very well.
Of course, street course racing as we have here in Baltimore, a lot different for a lot of reasons. Our Mazda momentum, we talked to several drivers about the challenge.
Obviously, there's a lot less room for mistakes because you have the concrete walls. Basically, you're working as your curbs. So, you know, you're apexing inches away from the wall and you're tracking out inches away from the walls.
And the streets are very bumpy. There's a lot of pavement changes as well, concrete to pavement, and so it's very, you have to have a unique setup in the car. You also have to be very careful where you're driving, where there's more grip and where the correct racing lane is. So, and you can't afford to make any mistakes because unlike a road course where you have grass, here you have walls. So it's a combination of a lot of things, but it's quite fun and I like it.
And it's also different too because when you're sitting low in the car, you can't see through the corner. On a road course, you can see through the corner, so you have a lot more confidence. But on a street course, you don't know what's around the bend.
Well, street racing is kind of over racing, you know. When you make a mistake, there's no way you get back that position, or maybe you finish in the wall. In a road course, you have more chances to go off, touch the grass, come back, recovery, something like that.
Do you have to be less aggressive with the walls all around you?
I'd say even maybe more aggressive. Like, it's just the way the tracks are, because we come on a regular tracks, there are many cars, many races around the year, but on a tracks like this, there are not so many races. So when we come to a weekend, there's not so much grip, so it takes a little bit of aggressiveness to really get that final few tenths.
You know, they hit on so many good points, and the only other one that I'd throw in there is that you can't practice. There's no testing on street circuits. The only time you ever get to do it is on a race weekend, and you're forced to learn very quickly.
And when the practice time is at a premium, as it is here in Baltimore, you've got American Le Mans here at IndyCar, you've got lights and F2000 and Star Mazda. You've got to make every second count.
On top of that, this weekend in particular, with the problems with the track, these drivers were robbed of the precious minutes that they had. So a very difficult situation for these kids, but at the same time, this is all part of the sport. Everybody here this weekend has been dealing with the same thing, and it's great to see that everybody's coping with it very well.
Getting set for a restart in Baltimore. Camilo Schmidt's car going out on the hook. Fans enjoying the action as the Star Mazda Championship comes to the streets of Baltimore. Hawksworth will be your restart leader over Karam and DeFilippi. We'll be back. Beautiful place to go racing. I mentioned earlier, I thought this event could become the eastern version of Long Beach weekend. What a great venue. Camden Yards, the Inner Harbor of Baltimore. The fans turn out in huge numbers here. Great place to come to.
The setting is perfect. The event's well run, and more than anything, the city's behind it and the fans come out. So this is an event that hopefully will be around for years to come.
Single file restart upcoming into the chicane. Hawksworth and Karam will restart 1 and 2. Gabi Chavez and Petru Suvanto next in line. Green flag is back in the air on the streets of Baltimore.
And another killer restart from Jack Hawksworth. Doesn't even think about defending. He's on the preferred driver's line. It's Sage Karam that's trying to defend on the inside. 2 wide. Gabi Chavez 3 wide.
Bruno Pali way wide, has to take the escape road. Now you can go the long way around, but you lose a ton of track position.
He's going to lose a lot. The marshal there will let the entire field go by before he's released, and that's an unfortunate break there. But now Sage has fended off Connor DeFilippi, and his eyes are now firmly set on Jack Hawksworth, trying to get that pass done.
Gabi Chavez settling into 4th position. Again, it's Suvanto in 5th. Then you've got Ferrero running 6th in front of Freiberg. Good battling further back. Zach Veach trying to make his way back up through the field.
Yeah, him and Gustavo Menezes going at it. Veach a little bit further back probably than he'd have liked. Not the strongest weekend from him, but again, he's learning, he's getting there, he's got the talent, the ability. It's just chalking up those miles at this point, but a good battle here in the midfield.
Working over that change, turns 5, 6, and 7 on one of the short straightaways in Baltimore. Right-hander, high-speed right-hander, where pit out gets into the action as well. You've got to take that into account.
Yeah, luckily for these guys, not a whole lot of cars coming into and out of pit lane, but that's certainly going to be an issue in some of the other series. But no, again, through turn 9 here, onto the back straight. Again, it's not a long back straight, not a very good passing opportunity here. A tough sort of right-left, fast 5th gear chicane. But this brake zone into 12 is very difficult, easy to make a mistake here and hurt your run onto the front straight.
And again, as we've talked about so many times, with the inability to contact with the wall.
Sage Karam.
Oh my gosh,
no.
Karam in the 88 has his day come to a violent end, and this is what we've been talking about, where they installed the chicane. One other car is up in the wall. You can get pitched sideways into the end of this retaining wall.
We've seen it in IndyCar and ALMS, and every single series so far. The chicane has caused some havoc as you see Sage's tire bouncing down the road. That is a tremendous hit. And there was another car involved as well down further back. I couldn't quite see who it was. We'll have to get a camera over there. Let's take a look at the replay.
Hawksworth through the chicane, he's okay, but if you are too tight there, it can pitch you left, and that's what happened.
Oh, and there, there's that break in the wall, and where's Sage hit is actually angled in a bit, and he almost went perpendicular into the wall. That wasn't even a side swipe. That was very vicious.
Meantime, Carlos Linares has hammered the wall in the 20 car, broken the rear wing on that machine, and Walt Bolin has turned around the Tampa Bay jaw surgery 23 car. But Sage Karam, you can tell he took a hard hit. He was able to flip the visor up, but I'm not sure he was fully with us there initially.
No, I mean, look at him. That's not what you want to see. You can see the safety team now running to his aid. That was a big hit. I mean, he was sideways through that first curve, probably took a little bit too much of the first one, The car got loose. He clipped with the left rear, and it's when it hooked in, that's what really did the damage. It's loose there already, and you can see, I mean, going straight in. His own tire passed him. It all happens so fast, it's tough to appreciate how much that really hurts.
One more look at it in slow motion. Just enough to pitch him and get the rear end breaking loose, and the left rear went right by his head there.
You know, that left rear didn't have any suspension attached to it. It didn't have...
It was loose?
I mean, where he got loose in the corner was a bit bizarre, and that came off very easily with nothing attached to it.
Carlos Linares, meantime, will give you an onboard look at what happened to him. He just got way out of line.
He got loose in the same way, but his car didn't snap back, and then he just went straight in. But yeah, God, I wonder if maybe
wheel nut
the
off?
wheel nut came off going in there. That's what pitched him loose originally. But you can see Sage is not, he is not feeling great right now. That's not what you want to see.
That was a hard hit. You can tell by the nose cone damage to the 88. He got into the concrete front end first, and then Linares into the wall, and that will do it. The double checkered flags waving over the field here. We've reached the time limit at Baltimore, and Captain Jack Hawksworth will win another one. Not the way he wanted to do it, though, I'm sure.
You never want to win a race under yellow, but at the same time, a W is a W. Doesn't matter how it comes. So another tremendous drive. He had a great start. Didn't have any contact with any drivers or any walls. Avoided, Sage's attack on that restart. So another flawless victory for Jack.
Meantime, Connor DeFilippi profits from this. Sage Karam had second spot before the wreck. DeFilippi will get credit for second spot. Looks like Gabi Chavez will end up third.
Chalking up another podium. We've talked about it before as the season's gone on. Gabi's just super consistent, the top 5, top 3 guy almost every race. And now with Sage having an accident, the two guys he was battling with that were 3rd and 4th in points, well, Sage was 2nd, they're going to finish 2nd and 3rd and take up a big chunk of points on him.
We've had the opportunity to talk to Jack Hawksworth many times as he's won races on just about every weekend of the season. Excited about the opportunity that may well come his way through the Mazda Speed driver development ladder. One more step up the Mazda road to Indy. The title will earn him, if he can close the deal, an opportunity to go to Indy Lights, and he's enjoying running up front every week.
It's tough not to. I mean, that's the best place to be. It's what you do and why you do it. But Michael Andretti obviously very upset with what happened with Sage.
Sage Karam, hard lick, and the wreck brings an end to this one. We'll be back in Baltimore. Back on the streets of Baltimore in the Mazda Motorsports Hour, a checkered flag falling here under caution. Not the way you want to end these. Sage Karam getting into the wall hard. We've reached the time limit for this event. Captain Jack Hawksworth ready to celebrate in victory lane. Another victory, his 7th of the season. There it is, the Hawk.
The signature Hawk. Gotta love that. Every driver's got to have their thing, and he's done it. But as we said, it's another great drive from him. It's really, he makes it look easy.
He does. He's demonstrably quicker in a lot of circumstances. But Sage Karam very quick as well, and was trying to challenge Jack Hawksworth for the victory before coming to grief here over that chicane. Hard hit into the outside retaining wall. Got another look at it. Lost the left rear off the car. That was what was bouncing down the racetrack. There it is again. The curbing just turning him around.
Obviously a big hit for the car, and he was in some discomfort. So can they get that car fixed, and will he be fit enough to race tomorrow?
There he is. Smile on his face, a little shout of enthusiasm, back on track. You always seem to manage to pull out that gap just like you wanted on each restart and score the win.
Yeah, no, the restarts were really good today. I was able to do a really good restart every time, and what a win, and how crucial for the championship, because I think Sage ran into problems and other people perhaps didn't have the race they wanted. I know Connor and Gabby were close behind, challenged and stuff, but got to say big thanks to Pelfrey, everybody there, because and my management, Chris, my old man, everyone. This has been a perfect way to react after 3 rivers, and that was no means an easy race. Those guys were quick, and I probably had to push harder then than I had at any other point in the season. So yeah, it was difficult but unbelievable. So happy. Cool.
Congratulations, Jack Hawksworth has himself another win.
Captain Jack, as we started calling him, started showing us his pace, really, at St. Petersburg, and he hasn't looked back. He defeats Connor DeFilippi and Gabi Chavez. Petri Suvanto with a nice run to 4th.
Absolutely, and just as talking about Jack, other than the oval races, with these double headers, he has won at least one race in every event that we've been at so far.
Good day for Ashley Freiberg, and also for Stefan Rudzinski, who gets credit for 9th. Juan Pedro Hayden and Martin Scuncio never really got going today. Let's talk to our runner-up finisher in Baltimore.
Connor DeFilippi survives to finish second. Pretty strong result, and yeah, it was a battle out there, wasn't it?
Oh man, it was crazy. You know, trying to learn that chicane while during the race was certainly tricky, but you know, the guys gave me a good car. We got all the issues we've been having for a while this year sorted out, and it's time to look forward and try to win the rest of these races here. You know, they're beating me in a couple of the more hairpin turns. I just can't quite get the car turned like they can and get out. So we'll go back to the drawing board and try to improve things for tomorrow and go for the win. Well, I think we'll be starting P3 tomorrow, so we'll go for the win tomorrow. That's all it counts at this point in the season.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's right. It's pretty much win or bust in the situation that he's in. So we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers pushing hard, and a great way for Jack to rebound from Three Rivers.
Yeah.
I love seeing a driver come back like that.
Gabby Chavez gets the 3rd position on the podium here in Baltimore. Back downstairs to Todd.
3rd place finisher, Gabby Chavez. You survived for another solid result. Well done.
Yeah, it was really, really tough out there. I mean, yesterday, unfortunately, with the way the track was laid out, we damaged the car every time on the first lap out with the railroad. And so, you know, I came out here basically blindfolded trying to figure out the track. So obviously it took me a little bit more time than these guys, and I'm still very pleased with the result because, you know, going out there basically blind, it's a heck of a result for that. So I'm very happy for myself and for my team.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, going out blind, missing that practice explains maybe a little bit of lack of pace earlier in the race, but he figured it out and makes the podium all the more impressive.
It does appear that Jack Hawksworth will take the next step up the Mazda Road to Indy driver development ladder, earn that ride to go to Indy Lights. Others want to do the same thing. Mazda has invited some young drivers from British Formula Ford to come and take a look at USF 2000 and Star Mazda, Indy Lights, and IndyCar for that matter, and see if they are ready to get on the ladder and take those next steps up that will allow them to reach IndyCar and a spot maybe in the Indianapolis 500 someday. We talked to a few of the young guns who are here this weekend.
There is, you know, the natural progression path through this, where in Europe it's a bit of a spaghetti junction, you know, that you could go through multiple different steps and you still don't necessarily guaranteed one way. Where, you know, out here with this program, it looks, you know, very, very interesting, because obviously if you win one series, then you get put straight next to the other, and you can keep climbing the ladder until you get to IndyCar, which is where everybody wants to be.
It's like being here and watching the racing, it's just like fantastic experience being here, and even in the paddock, sorry, it's just phenomenal. So much different to over in the UK and that, and it just motivates you even more and more to get the results you need to try and get over here.
Certainly in Europe, it can be down to who has the biggest budget, who has the fastest car, who has the most money to spend on development, and then obviously you can't compete if you're not spending enough money compared to everybody else. But over here it seems to be pretty fixed. I've been talking to a few of the teams. Apparently all the engines have a 1% difference between the whole field, which is as little as 3 horsepower, and them sort of cars it's little or no difference at all. It's all independently done by the series, which I've been learning more about today, which it's another advantage that's selling it to me a bit more.
Rick, we've talked about the Mazda Road to Indy and how beneficial this program is for young drivers. This is one more thing that they're doing, bringing other kids over to learn about this. It's just, you cannot say enough about what they've been doing.
Welcome back to the Grand Prix of Baltimore with James Hinchcliffe. I'm Rick Benjamin. Todd Lewis downstairs for us. The Peak Pole Award for race number 2 on the weekend goes to Jack Hawksworth because he was the fastest on the track during race number 1.
He was, and Sage Karam had the 2nd fastest race lap. He's got that car fixed. The Andretti Autosport team worked all night to get it fixed. He's well, and everybody's looking forward to race 2 on a rolling start this time.
Got some highlights for you. Hawksworth and Sage Karam up front here. They get away cleanly on the rolling start, trying to minimize the carnage, give everybody a shot at the 2nd race victory, but there is trouble immediately.
3 wide racing through the pack. Most people get through, but we see further back on board now with Ryan Taviter.
Oh.
Up and over Stefan Rosinski.
Wing parts flying through the air. And Taviter has to come to pit road.
Yeah, a little more than just a wing, unfortunately. Another bad weekend for Ryan Taviter.
Team GDT has to go to work to try to repair the nose cone. Now, Hawksworth and Karam side by side, and Sage makes the inside pass.
Back on track. He got the pass done in turn 3 on lap 1. And then later on the same lap, still the first lap, turn 7, little bit of a clip. Even from the best in the series can make these mistakes on the road circuits.
Camilo Schmidt had made the same sort of mistake in a different part on the course in race number 1. You can make that early entry and it can catch you out here.
And luckily for Jack, though, it wasn't a race-ending deal. Probably hurt the toe of the car a little bit, maybe affected the handling, but Karam wasted no time opening up a very big lead.
Juan Pedrojita has problems again, second day in a row. This at the chicane.
2 cars involved here. We'll see. He gets into the back of Andres Mendez, heading into the chicane. Mendez into the wall, Pedrojita into the tires. And we saw the tires, which were added actually overnight, was different from race 1. Here's on board now with Pedrojita on the brakes, bit early. Ooh, just bad luck for everybody there.
Your replay XD on board looks tremendous. Here it is from Mendez's viewpoint. Gets tagged, and then the right front corner of that car, heavy damage. He would be done for the day. Restart here, and Karam defending. Hawksworth taking a look to the outside.
Bit of a role reversal here, and normally it's Jack the guy under pressure, but Karam late on the brakes, has the preferred line. He gets through clean and with the lead as the rest of the field files through as much as 3 wide.
And you've got to be cautious. Obviously, everybody knows that a start or a restart, one of your best opportunities to pass, but you've got to take it easy. You've got to be there at the end.
It's one of your best opportunities to crash as well. And that's one of the things that these Star Mazda drivers are learning.
So Sage Karam very strong. Hawksworth settles into second over De Filippi. Behind them, Bruno Pali doing a nice job. Here's Gabi Chavez on lap number 10 now. Petri Suvanto trying to pick up some ground.
And the exactly, the action not done yet. Almost 3 wide. Contact with Suvanto makes Menezes have to take to the runoff. But what we see now is Petri up in the air, backwards, spins around, almost very race 1 with Gabi and Sage Karam-esque. Gabi involved again. He's lucky to get his hands off the wheel, not actually injure himself, but we see Petri then go on a storming drive, passing cars left, right, and center.
Petri Suvanto doing some great work here at Baltimore this weekend, bouncing back, so to speak, from the problem. Here's another incident at the chicane.
Just shows you how violent it is. The car gets shot up as it bottoms out. The shock cover flies off of Bruno Pali's car. Very bumpy part of the racetrack.
Does not necessarily end his day as we watch Captain Jack Hawksworth trying to gain ground on the race leader here, but it does aerodynamically slow you down.
Certainly it does, but the one guy who could not be slowed down no matter what, rebounding from that nasty accident in race 1, Sage Karam taking another win this season.
Race promoter, now race team winner. It's a nice win for Sage as well after yesterday.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really disappointed for him yesterday, and you know, it was great. He drove great right from the first lap on.
Go celebrate.
Thanks.
So your team principal, Michael Andretti, a rare smile as he gets that done.
Only smiles when he wins.
All right, let's get the thoughts of the winner, Sage Karam, in victory lane with Todd.
After a hard hit to end yesterday, what a huge bounce back in this race today.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have the greatest team behind my back. Just the way they worked yesterday to get this car back together. I mean, they were here till 10:30 last night working on this thing just for me to be able to race today, and oh man, did it pay off. And yeah, yesterday we had a good car. I knew we did, and I just made a little mistake on my part and ended up clipping the wall in the new chicane. So I felt real bad about that, and I knew I had to bring back the boys a good W here. And you know, I got to thank everybody who made this happen: Comfort Revolution, Michael Fuchs, Michael Fuchs Foundation, Michael Andretti, Bell Helmets, especially Mazda, Road to Indy, Goodyear Tires, everybody that was part of this. It was just an awesome day.
Extra special because the boss is the promoter?
Yeah, the boss said we definitely needed a win this weekend, so, and you know, that's the Andretti Autosport, I know it right there, so hopefully the big boys can go get something done today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If ever you didn't think this was a team sport, he just summed it up right there. His teamwork until 10:30 to get that car back on track. He rewards him with a win.
Teammate Zach Beach runs 6th, Ferreira 5th, Suvanto, De Filippi. Captain Jack Hawksworth runs 2nd. We caught up with him.
You know, today they did a great job, and I was just lucky I hit the wall on the first lap. Coming out of the double left back there, and that put us back a little bit, and no, it was just really damaged limitation, so I made a mistake, but I was just really happy that it wasn't too costly and we were able to bring the thing home in second. And Team Healthy Boys again, they gave me a great car, and now we're one step closer to where we want to be, and might not have been one of the wins we wanted, but it was certainly probably the largest step towards winning this thing, so I couldn't be more pleased.
Love that he acknowledges the job well done by his competitor there in Sage Karam.
Lead of 61 points for Jack Hawksworth. 3 events to go in the 2012 season. Chavez 3rd in points, then De Filippi and Petri Suvanto had a nice weekend here. Scuncio 6th in the championship. It's been a wild one here in the streets of Baltimore. Next up for us, coverage from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca as the Star Mazda Championship continues. The season will wrap up for these young stars of the future at Road Atlanta in the month of October. We'll have all the coverage for you here on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. For James Hinchcliffe and Todd Lewis, I'm Rick Benjamin. We congratulate Jack Hawksworth and Sage Karam, winners in Baltimore. We'll talk to you next time.